Bill goes so far back with me that I don't really remember a time without him. You know, you guys coming down from suburbia, we're kind of figuring, you guys looking around going, oh, those poor people. They're one of the few people still walking around today that knew my mom and dad and my sister.
Hand me that bag over there.
Bill knows things about me when I was young enough that I don't remember them.
I got a few surprises for you that I found.
Since 2014, Alaskan Bush People has offered something unique in the world of reality TV. A raw and unfiltered look at the Brown family's attempt to live life off the grid, far from modern society. Over the years, viewers watched them brave brutal winters, survive wild animals, and build a life of self-sufficiency in the wilderness. But no challenge proved more devastating than the loss of family patriarch Billy Brown. This was the moment that forever changed the course of the show. Billy had been at the heart of Alaskan Bush People since day one. His vision was the very foundation of their unconventional lifestyle. This meant that his passing would inevitably create an enormous void in the show's narrative and the family's dynamics. The death of Alaskan Bush People's Billy Brown Billy was far from a typical reality TV star. His life's mission was to build a self-sufficient, isolated existence for his family in the wilderness. While his death was sudden, Billy had been struggling with serious breathing issues for years, which came to light in 2019. At first, these breathing problems were believed to be related to the lungs, but medical diagnosis revealed that it was actually due to Billy's weakening heart. Doctors repeatedly advised him to leave the high-altitude mountain for the sake of his health. But Billy, ever the mountain man, refused. According to The Sun, he made it clear to his family that he would rather die on the land he loved than live somewhere else. Tragically, on February 7, 2021, Billy died after suffering a sudden seizure at 68. The impact on Alaskan Bush People after Billy Brown's death. Billy's death was a crushing blow, not just for the fans but for the family already reeling from a series of traumatic events. Less than a year earlier, in April 2020, trigger warning, Amy Brown's niece, Amber Nicole Branson, died by suicide during a mental health crisis. 2 months later, Amy's brother, Larry Branson, died after a battle with cancer. And as if the emotional burden wasn't enough, the Brown family also lost their home in the 2020 wildfires that tore through Washington. They were already in the process of rebuilding their lives when they lost their anchor. The show naturally began to change during this time, focusing more on the personal lives and emotional journeys of the Brown children. After Billy's death, this shift intensified. Billy had died midway through filming season 13, and the family's raw grief became a central plot point in the season's later episodes. Alaskan Bush People Season 13, Episode 8, One Last Dance DA was a special tribute episode where the family rallied to honor Billy's memory, brought his beloved animals back to the mountain, and talked about facing difficult next steps. After Billy's death, the show shifted from showcasing his active dream to focusing on the family's emotional response and their efforts to preserve and adapt that dream without him. From that point on, the series centered more on themes of loss, resilience, and family strength. What's next for Alaskan Bush People after Billy's death? Many viewers wondered if the show would continue. But Season 14 did arrive, offering an in-depth look at how the Browns managed without their patriarch, focused on rebuilding, reconnecting, and redefining their purpose. However, new trouble followed. In April 2021, Billy's business partner, Robert Morn, filed a $500,000 breach of contract lawsuit against Billy's estate and Alaskan Wilderness Family Productions, claiming he hadn't received his agreed share. The lawsuit and the emotional aftermath of Billy's death led to the series going on indefinite hiatus, with no new episodes filmed since Season 14 wrapped in December 2022. Still, hope remains. In March 2025, Bear Brown shared a video update on Instagram to clear the air. He confirmed that Alaskan Bush People had not been cancelled. He emphasized that if Discovery had no plans to continue the series, they wouldn't hesitate to say so. The show is just on a break for now. Whether or not the cameras roll again, one thing is certain: Billy's legacy lives on through his family, the land he loved, and the countless fans who were inspired by his unbreakable spirit. In mid-February 2021, the rugged off-grid world of Alaskan bush people ground to a halt in shared grief. The untimely death of patriarch Billy Brown, signal of strength provider and wilderness anchor, sent shockwaves through his family and the millions of viewers who had followed their life journey. Billy's passing did more than end an era, it shattered the heart of a televised mythos, forever transforming the show and the Browns themselves. Nearly all public-facing versions of Alaskan bush people hinge on its core, Billy Brown. A charismatic naturalist and loving father, he upheld the family's wilderness dream, serving as both visionary and emotional center of the Brown family. His sudden death from a seizure on February 7, 2021 at age 68, occurred during the filming of season 13, marking the moment the family's dream unraveled. Factual America podcast. The tragedy took form swiftly. Fans were shocked to learn of his passing through a heartfelt post by his son Bear. "We are heartbroken to announce that our beloved patriarch Billy Brown passed away last night," Bear wrote, his grief raw, his words simple. A family laid bare before a devoted global audience. Episodes that followed became a tribute and a shared catharsis. In a particularly poignant season 13 installment titled One Last Dance, the family welcomed back Billy's favorite animals, held emotional reflections around his memory, and unearthed painful truths about their new reality without him. Bear, who had always looked up to Billy as both a father and hero, described the pain of grieving in public. In an October 2021 Entertainment Weekly interview, he confessed to struggling under the weight of constant sympathy from strangers, saying he'd taken it pretty hard. Still, he found solace in unity, leaning on other family members and honoring his father's dream by pushing forward with ranch rebuilding and fulfilling Billy's final aspirations. With Billy gone, the family's sense of identity slipped. The show's tone shifted away from frontier exploits and survival to raw emotion, resilience, and the attempt of a broken family to reconstruct itself out of public view. The rugged, self-reliant fantasy was over. What remained was human grief, loyalty, and a deep desire to preserve a fading legacy. Billy's departure also exposed vulnerabilities behind the family's private and financial structures. Not long after, a $500,000 breach of contract lawsuit was filed by his former business partner Robert Morn, claiming entitlement to a share of royalties from books, documentaries, and the show itself. At the same time, the tragic aftermath unveiled cracks in the family's cohesion, ethical boundaries, and stability. Billy's estate, devoid of a formal will, became embroiled in legal wrangling. The value of assets, livestock, rare coins, jewelry, household items, surfaced during court battles. A judge compelled Amy Brown, his widow, to reveal financial records, exposing both the estate's holdings and its liabilities. Interwoven with legal strife came personal fractures. In late 2024, Noah Brown filed a restraining order against his sister Rain, accusing her of threatening behavior, drug use, and endangering their family. The court, citing insufficient evidence, denied the petition, a harrowing episode that made the family's internal battles public. In early 2025, the Browns were again in headlines when Rain and her husband were arrested for allegedly stealing over $171,000 in gold coins, cash, guns, and other valuables from a family member. Around the same time, Noah claimed Amy and Rain were abusing meth and that Amy's health was deteriorating, a deeply distressing chapter in the family's unraveling. Meanwhile, Discovery eventually confirmed the show had been officially cancelled after 14 seasons. The family's internal chaos, paired with legal and financial turmoil, had eclipsed the show's wilderness charm. Viewership waned, lawsuits loomed, and the hero who once was the show's heart was gone. A potential spin-off with Bear was hinted at, but the curtain on Alaskan bush people had undeniably fallen. Through all this, fans and communities watching their decline were left with reflections often tinged in sadness and disillusionment. Reddit threads offered blunt commentary: the Browns were always grifters. This was just the mask falling off. They are actually in the middle of a court case where Billy's partner is suing Amy. According to Matt, Billy was in charge of all the finances and now he's dead. Where's all that money? I felt so sad for the kids. I binged all the seasons, then I feel sad reading all these Reddit tears. The shift was clear. Alaskan bush people had transitioned from reality TV escapism to a tragic narrative of broken dreams, fractured family, and grief in public. Now, 4 years after Billy's death, the show remains off the air. No new seasons have aired since 2022 reruns, and streaming offer glimpses of what once was. Bear's hinted projects never fully came to fruition. The estate lawsuits continued to play out. The Browns' relationships, once united under Billy, are now stretched thin and strained. That early February day in 2021 changed everything. The show lost its moral compass, the family lost its anchor, and millions who fell in love with a rugged off-grid adventure were left watching a family's undoing unfold in dismal footage and court documents. Alaskan bush people was never the same. The legacy, once as hearty as the mountain air, crumbled into grief, conflict, and unresolved stories, forever redefining how that world would be remembered.